Hi there, and thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you guys are all taking good care of yourselves during this time of complete upheaval on our planet and doing the things that keep you happy and healthy. I am using this time to strategize and plan for the future. So I thought it would be a great time for us to get together and chat about how to create your wedding day timeline. Now, as you guys already probably know, the timeline is your blueprint for how your wedding day is going to unfold, what's going to happen when, who needs to do what when, and it's probably the most important document out of all of your wedding planning. Therefore, it's also vital that we get it right, and it's vital that you share it with your entire creative team of wedding vendors so that everybody's on the same page and they know what needs to happen when. I thought that we would go through a sample wedding day timeline, first of all, and then I will also be giving you a few tips on how to finesse it so that it's really the best that it can possibly be. So before I begin with this sample timeline, I do want to mention that we're going off of the assumption that you're doing a first look. Many couples these days are choosing to do a first look. It's obviously a personal choice of whether or not you do, but I just want you to know as I go through this timeline that that is the assumption. So to begin with, when I arrive as a wedding photographer, it is generally about 4 hours before the ceremony begins because there are a number of things that need to happen. As you guys already know, hair and makeup is happening, but from a photography standpoint, I have a lot that I need to cover before the ceremony. The first item is any detail shots, and this includes shots of your rings, shots of your shoes or your dress or any other special items that you would like to have photographed. And that piece generally takes about an hour. It takes time to style each one and to make all of the shots look good. And I really like to take my time and make sure that I make them as beautiful as they can be. Next, we move into bridal prep. And these are the shots of you doing your final adjustments. You know, you're in your dress. Maybe if you have a wedding party, they're helping you kind of do the final floofing and primping. And then we also do a couple of shots of you on your own before you go out for your first look. When we do the first look, we immediately follow that with couples portraits. And then if you have a wedding party, we bring in the whole wedding party and get all of those photographs finished before the ceremony as well. So that's a lot of stuff that's happened just before the ceremony, wouldn't you guys agree? So believe it or not, by that point, as I said, it's already been about 4 hours. We do give you time to go and relax for at least a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes before your ceremony. And during that time, we go and photograph all of your reception details. So we take a big shot of the whole room, we take shots of all of the beautiful details on your tables and get all of that done while the room is empty and things are still set up perfectly, so we get amazing shots of your reception area. After that happens, of course, is the moment everyone's been waiting for, the ceremony. And immediately following the ceremony, your guests will run off to do cocktail hour, and we will then do group portraits and also a few just married portraits of you guys before we send you off to the reception. So the reception begins, and then it often culminates at the very end with some kind of a grand exit. This doesn't always happen, but most of the time it does. So that's kind of a brief overview of how the day flows. Let's talk about a few tips on things you can do to really make a wedding timeline that's going to be workable, because obviously. We want things to flow as smoothly as possible and the day to be comfortable. So the first tip I have is to pad your timeline with a little bit of extra time in between the different sections. Typically, I add an extra 15 minutes to the end of the bridal prep section, for instance, because oftentimes things happen on a wedding day that we haven't planned for. So therefore, we kind of have to expect the unexpected and to build in a little extra time here and there so that when the unexpected does arise, it's not a problem and your photography, particularly your couples portraits, doesn't suffer for it later on in the day. Second tip is to keep your group shots, your list of group shots, limit that list, because generally we allow about a half an hour for group shots in total, and each grouping takes about 5 minutes. So if you do the simple math, that means that in a half an hour we can accomplish 6 group portraits. And that's really about it, because it takes a lot of time to shuffle people in and out of position, get everybody all lined up and squared away. So definitely look at that list and make sure you have no more than 6 groupings. Lastly, my final tip is that you plan all of the major events of your reception during the first 2 hours. And the reason for this is because people start to leave after dinner has been served. So if you do wait to do a final exit at the very end of the night, you may only have like the last few stragglers left, and obviously we want to have more people there. You're going to get a better photo if you have a group of people rather than 2 or 3 people waving you on. So that is the reason why I suggest that. I hope that this has been a helpful sort of overview for you. I will be posting this same sample timeline on the group in a few minutes. So you feel free to download a copy for yourself so you can refer to that as you're working on your own timeline. And as always, I am here and available if you have any questions or comments. You can always put a comment in the comment section below or shoot us an email. And I hope that it was helpful for you. From this day moving forward, I hope that you are going to continue taking amazing care of yourself, staying happy and healthy. We will be meeting together again next Wednesday for a live Wedding Wednesday live, Facebook Live. So I will look forward to speaking with you then. Be well, and we'll talk soon.